I always thought betrayal came from strangers, not from the people who tucked you into bed as a child. I was 26 when it happened. After years of clawing my way up from unpaid internships and temp gigs, I finally landed a coveted corporate strategist position at a major renewable energy firm in Chicago, the kind of job you fight for, the kind you don't even tell people about until the offer letter is signed, just in case fate decides to snatch it back. But I made it. I worked late. I spoke up in meetings. And within a year I was promoted to executive liaison to the COO. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in the comments where you're watching this video. And that's when my parents started noticing me again. Look at our daughter, my mom would post on Facebook, making us proud in her fancy little job. Like they had anything to do with it, like they hadn't spent most of my childhood reminding me I wasn't as pretty, as charming, or as promising as my younger sister, Leia. Leia, the golden child, she flunked out of 2 colleges, changed careers 6 times, and once borrowed my car, returning it with a shattered windshield and a receipt for hair extensions in the glove box. My parents still worshipped her. You should be more like your sister, Dad used to say. She's such a free spirit. No, she was just irresponsible. But when I finally had something they couldn't ignore, success, they didn't celebrate it, they plotted to steal it. It started with strange whispers at work. My boss, Victor, suddenly stopped CCing me on strategy calls. I got pulled off 2 major projects without explanation. Then came the HR wellness check-in, just a routine meeting, they said, except it wasn't. We've received some concerns, HR murmured. There was a call from someone claiming to be a family member. They said you've been struggling mentally, that you've had breakdowns in the past. Is that true? I froze. No, that's not true. Who said that? They wouldn't say. Confidentiality, they claimed. But I knew. I called my parents that night, furious. What the hell did you tell my boss? Silence. Then Mom, feigning innocence, we just told them you've been under a lot of pressure. We were worried. Worried? You told them I was unstable. You jeopardized everything I'd built. My dad chimed in, it's not like you'll lose your job. We were just trying to help. You push yourself too hard. You're not like Leia, you don't bounce back the same. And then it clicked. Where's Leia working now? I asked slowly. She's between jobs, Mom said too fast. But she's interested in corporate strategy. She thinks she could really thrive in your field. My blood turned to ice. You're trying to get her my job? Don't be selfish, Dad snapped. She needs a chance. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the phone. That night I didn't sleep. The next morning, I found out Leia had applied for a position in my department. She'd even listed my father as a reference. And somehow Victor had already met with her for coffee. I was being erased. I realized that if I didn't fight back, I'd lose everything I'd built, while they stood over the ashes pretending it was all for my own good. So I started documenting. I quietly gathered every email, every HR memo, every shift in my responsibilities since the anonymous call. I requested copies of internal memos under the employee rights policy, and I hired an employment lawyer on the side, paid for with my emergency fund. But I didn't stop there. I started digging into the company's social ties. Turns out Victor's daughter went to the same wellness retreat my mother bragged about last year. Connections, influence, the puzzle was forming, and at the center of it all, my family. They weren't just trying to ruin me, they were trying to replace me, and I was about to make them regret it. 3 weeks after that HR meeting, my professional life was hanging by a thread. I had gone from leading client calls and pitching million-dollar strategies to being ghosted in my own department. I wasn't fired, yet, but I was clearly being phased out. All while Leia floated around the office like she owned the place, introduced to people as Alyssa's talented younger sister, soaking in stolen attention like sunlight. She even had the nerve to wink at me in the break room. They said you needed time off, she smirked, sipping her latte. Don't worry, I'm here to help. It took every ounce of control not to throw the coffee across the room. Instead, I smiled, because Leia had no idea what I had planned. While she played office dress-up, I was building my case. Every action they took to isolate me, documented. Every meeting I was excluded from, logged. I filed a formal complaint with HR, attaching proof that I was never offered mental health leave, never professionally evaluated, and never given a chance to defend myself. My lawyer drafted a letter that made it clear, if I was terminated without cause, there would be a wrongful dismissal lawsuit, and it would go public. But I wasn't done. The one thing my parents had always underestimated was that I didn't just know strategy, I lived it. Behind the scenes, I had already connected with Victor's competitor, A rising CEO at a rival firm who'd been courting me on LinkedIn for months. I scheduled a discreet coffee. When he heard what happened, he looked shocked. "They used your own family to sabotage you," he said, eyes narrowing. "You built one of the most profitable forecasting models we've seen in this industry. If your company can't see that, we will." He made an offer within a week, not just for a position, but for partnership. Yet still, I wasn't done. I waited until the quarterly board meeting, where Victor always presented company strategy based on my models. This time, I showed up uninvited and dropped a folder on the table, the email chain proving how I was pushed out, a copy of my HR complaint, and a resignation letter effective immediately, on the condition that they pay me 6 months severance or face public legal action. They didn't even argue. Victor's face turned white. I walked out without looking back. As for my family, they were so proud of Leia's new job. They posted about it nonstop until, 2 weeks later, she was let go quietly, with no explanation. What they didn't know, that same week, the firm I joined announced a hostile acquisition of my former company's North American division. Guess who was on the transition leadership team? Me. Guess who wouldn't be coming back? Victor. And guess who would soon receive an internal ethics investigation notice for hiring a sibling of an employee during an active HR complaint? Leia. But the final move came on a Sunday afternoon, when I rang my parents' doorbell. Dressed in a crisp navy suit and holding a single envelope, they looked surprised, nervous. "What's this?" my dad asked. "It's a cease and desist," I said calmly. "Any more communication with my employer or business partners, past, present, or future, and you'll be hearing from my lawyer." My mom gasped. "You're threatening your own mother." "No," I replied. "I'm protecting myself, something you never did." Leia stormed to the door. "This is your fault. They were helping me." "No," I said, turning to her. "They used me to help you, and now no one's helping anyone." I walked away without another word. My name was no longer just a line on their holiday brag letters. It was now on a building downtown, and soon, it would be on a court document, too, because revenge, when served cold, should come with a signature. 3 months later, I was on the 27th floor of a glass tower downtown. My name, Carrington Strategies, etched on the wall in brushed silver. What started as a consulting role had turned into a full-fledged firm, funded by the competitor who believed in me and powered by a team of underdogs I handpicked from companies just like the one that cast me out. I'd moved into a modern loft, upgraded my car, and begun mentoring women who had experienced workplace sabotage like mine. As for the old company, Victor was out. The board forced his resignation once the acquisition finalized. Leia's name vanished from their website without a trace. Still, the calls came, my mother's voice in voicemails, Leia depressed and locked in her room. My dad's bitter messages, "So you're really turning your back on family? We raised you." They didn't understand. I hadn't turned my back, I had simply closed the door they slammed on me years ago. But poetic justice has a way of circling back louder than any voicemail. 2 weeks before my firm's formal launch party, I received an unexpected invitation from Victor. He wanted to meet. I agreed, on one condition: he meet me at my office. No handlers, no team, just the two of us. He showed up in a cheap suit, far from the power posture he once had. "I underestimated you," he said flatly. "I know," I replied. "I lost everything," he added. I tilted my head. "No, Victor, you gambled everything and lost because you backed the wrong Carrington." He tried to offer a handshake before leaving. I didn't take it. Instead, I turned to the window, watching the city glow beneath me. The night of the launch party, my team gathered on the rooftop terrace. Reporters snapped photos, clients mingled, and I gave a speech I never thought I'd live to say. To everyone who told me I was too emotional, too dramatic, too much, thank you, I said, raising a glass. You helped me build the one thing you never saw coming, power without permission. The crowd erupted in applause. But the final scene was reserved for my parents. A month later, I received word from my legal assistant. My parents had filed for bankruptcy. After losing Leia's salary and facing the threat of legal fees, they defaulted on several payments. Their house, the kingdom from which they judged me, was up for public auction. I bought it anonymously through a silent bidder, and I didn't renovate it. I turned it into a transitional housing program for young women estranged from toxic families. It was renamed Phoenix House. The local paper ran a story: estranged daughter turns childhood trauma into community triumph. They asked if I wanted to include a quote. I did. "Some daughters are born to obey, others are born to rebuild." Later that week, I received a letter with no return address, from my mother, her handwriting shaky. We thought we were protecting your sister's future. We didn't know we were destroying yours. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope one day you'll remember the good times. I folded the letter once, then twice, and placed it in the drawer labeled lessons, because this wasn't about revenge anymore, it was about evolution. While they had tried to break me with gossip, lies, and betrayal, they accidentally built the woman who no longer needed their approval, not to survive, and definitely not to thrive. The story didn't end with a slammed door or a whisper behind my back. It ended with my name on the skyline, and theirs, nowhere in sight. Please subscribe to our channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching this video.